is physically demanding and physically difficult. I am not interested in that. I'm interested in the idea of a man or a woman walking on thin air, on a little wire, that at some point will be so well in their world that they will actually fall asleep.
It did have a profound impact and a very different impact on people. I want to show one of the arresting officer and his take on it.
Officer Myers and I observed the tightrope dancer, because you couldn't call him a walker, approximately halfway between the two towers. And upon seeing us, he started to smile and laugh. When he got to the building, we asked him to get off the high wire, but instead he turned around and ran back out into the middle. Everybody was spellbound in the watching of it. I personally figured I was watching something that somebody else would never see again in the world. Thought it was once in a lifetime.
Was there a delight in people's reactions, a delight for you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I am a performer. I love to practice in my backyard, but I love more to offer my art. It's performing, and a performance without an audience is not a performance. So, but here it was a. Here I point at the ground, but I should say here, between the Twin Towers, illegally. What strange performance was that? I mean, the audience was not invited. They came by surprise. It took time to create an audience. I was a little dot in the sky. Probably people couldn't see my face. They could hardly see that I had 2 legs and 2 hands. I remember some of my movement, like genuflecting and saluting the horizon. I made it deliberately in slow motion, thinking I have to go. If you go like this, nobody would see. So I did some slow motion, thinking of the distance. To me, it was a performance, but at the same time, it was a very intimate dialogue between me and the cable, me and the towers, me and the sky of New York. It was a dream.
Afterwards, when you got down the tower, there was one person, a girl called Jackie, who gave you a particular thank you, didn't she?
How come you remember her name?
Why I raise it is actually because what she did is she took you away and she made love to you. And why I think that is a wonderful thing is the spirit of the event so moved her.
Well, then I was right to put it in my book because I wanted in my book to share in a honest way with the reader what happened after. You know, you want to know.
The point I'm making is, for you, it's a moment of abandon.
Yes,
after having done this thing, and for her, it was a moment of. I want to embrace you, literally, for what you've done.
Yes, yes, yes. So then you agree with me when I say it was beautiful. And at the same time, wow, you know, it was really a little bit a dance of the flesh. But at the same time, it was beautiful. So, okay, let's turn the page. What is your next question?
The next question actually concerns the people you worked with. There's the one last little bit of the film I want to show. This is your great friend, Jean-Louis, interviewed many years later, talking about the war.
I saw his face changing. He was very tense, and all of a sudden there was something like a relief in him. And from that time I thought, that's it. He's secure, it's good. And wow, that's...
Does it surprise you, the power of that moment all these years later?
Yes and no. You know, I find that beautiful. All my friends, the one involved directly in Le Coup and the one who helped from far, they all cannot recall the vision, the first step, the memory of that walk without being completely transformed with tears. I mean, to see Annie, my girlfriend at the time, and Jean-Louis, the man who helped me so much on the North Tower, who, you know, did the bow and arrow and pulled the cable all alone. It's just beautiful. And 34 years later, for him to remember that walk with tears coming to replace his words is profound, it's beautiful. It touches me, yes, it's beautiful.
Your partner, Kathy, is here. Welcome, Kathy. And partner in life. What is this man like to be with?
Well, I think that Philippe is one of the most intelligent, funny, demanding, and perfect individuals that I know in terms of an artist being able to express himself.
He's extraordinarily disciplined in what he does, but is he impulsive in how he looks at things?
Yes, he's impulsive, but his concentration is so precise. It can be about anything, including taking the top off a jar. In other words, I've never seen anyone who's able to take all of his concentration and focus it in a way that you feel it's a beam of sorts. You know, when normally you say, can you take the top off this jar? And a person goes like this, and oops, the jar spills. No, not with Philippe. He looks at the jar, he looks how it's going to be. He looks back at me, he looks at the jar, and he opens it. The jar is level, nothing spills.
When is he unfocused?
Well, you know, Philippe has a way of being unfocused, which is when he doesn't actually want to hear what it is you have to say.
What sort of circumstances?
So then he's not really unfocused. You see what I'm saying? But because he's a master of misdirection, if he doesn't want to hear what you have to say, he tries to bring your attention to something else so you don't say what it is he doesn't want to hear.
I've heard you describe your life together as feast and famine. What difference to your lives has this film made, because it's been released around the world?
What's nice to see is the appreciation of people around the world realizing this story that maybe some didn't know before, and that it is possible for people to achieve their dreams by tenacious work. I don't know anyone as inspiring as he is. So I'm very happy that people get a chance to hear him and see him, and hopefully to see him in the sky. I mean, you know, like here in Sydney, for instance.
Are we going to see you in the sky?
Well, it's talk to your mayor and your governor and, I don't know, the Queen or whoever decides things around here, because in 73, when I did this illegal walk at the bridge, the Opera House was being finished. And before to go back to France, I announced that I wanted one day to put an inclined wire from the Opera House to the Sydney Harbour Bridge over the Sydney Cove. And I worked on it, and in the 10 years after my walk in 73, I came back 8 times to Australia, sometimes invited by government agency to develop the project. And I did, and it's all ready to go in the technical part, so it was possible and feasible. So this project has, what, 35 years ago?
This is what the Opera House is built for.
Let's do it again.
That's why they put it there.
Pick up the phone and
Yes.
let's do it.
Also, we live in such a time now where every government wants people to look up anywhere but at the economy. So,
yes, that's it. So let's do it. It, you know, will take a year to organize, and let's wake up the world by doing something magnificent and ephemeral over the Sydney Cove. I think you can have thousands of people on the sea, on little boats, and on the cove, and the world will wake up to something very beautiful. And it's also linking the old Australia to the new one, the future of one. I don't know. It could be a celebration that will inspire people, and that's what I am after.
Final question, Philippe. It's been a joy talking to you. If a time comes where you can no longer walk the wire, where your body cannot do that, what will that mean?
Well, the time will come, of course. I mean, you don't have to be polite, you know. But at 60 years old, I feel I am at the best of my life, meaning that I don't need to prove anything and to do the pirouettes I was doing in a stupid way when I was 17 years old. I know my limits much more than when I was learning, and I know the wire, I know my world. Today I am ready to continue, and I do continue to walk the wire around the world.
Thank you for bringing joy into our lives, Philippe Petit.
Thank you very much.